What's up? My name is Jesse. This is the Auditorium. I'm reacting to video game music for the first time as a musician myself. Today is the return of Touhou, and I think the debut of Touhou 5, Mystic Square. I looked and I have no Touhou 5, so I don't know what's going on. That's weird for me. But we're listening to Peaceful Romancer from the channel Romantic TP, followed by Shinwa Gensu, Infinite Being. These are requested by PossessedFrisk and T Man from the channel Arachnar. We have context on these, but I'm going to read them later. For now, let's just enjoy a game I've never heard before yet, which is so bizarre for me to say here. I thought I've heard all Touhous yet, but then again, that's now that I'm saying that out loud, it sounds kind of silly. It's probably like a billion of them. This is Peaceful Romancer Zuno Range. Let's go. And now I wonder, what was the earliest Touhou I've ever heard? I have no idea. Touhou MIDI. The mixing is all over the place. Like the drums are like here and the keyboard is like way up here. I was seeing if it was like a fan cover or something. I'll read it later. Interesting. Starts off with a nice melody and then it goes out of tune, giving a very like shocking effect. The song seems really unstable. There's like no musical floor to it. I like that. This kind of like latter half of the song is really nice. The first half was kind of weird, but it's cool. I mean, it's all been cool. It's just, it's mixed kind of all over the place. But then again, it gives us its own character, having the dips and pitch going down is not something you hear often in music. Like your brain wants to keep it on that note, but it's like constantly shifting out of it. Interesting. I like this right here. The sound of that. Kind of like a horn, like a MIDI horn. I've always loved that sound. What a debut, which I still think is I triple checked, but I'm pretty sure I haven't done Touhou 5. But what a debut for a Touhou. And as I was hearing it, I was like, wait. I know I've heard a lot of them, but I feel like a lot of the Touhou games have been like 8 and up. I feel like there's always been like double digits, but I really don't know what the. You guys will probably know better than I, but I wonder what's the oldest I've heard, and if I've even heard the first one. I feel like I should have at least heard the first one by now, but who knows? Honestly, I don't know that answer. I guess I'll talk about it before I read the description. So the whole title is SC8850, which is this guy right here, Sound Canvas. Peaceful Romancer Zune arrange, which that confuses me because he arranged his own song. Is that like a remix of himself? And then Mystic Square Touhou MIDI. This mansion is kind of throwing me off too. Also, what does that say? Can anyone decipher that? That was, it's funny because Touhou's DNA is so strong that, like, it's almost like you can't fool me on that one. Like, I still could tell that was Touhou, even though it was different and weird, at least different from what I know it. Different is different for everyone because of what game you started with or, what have you. But for the past couple years, my memory of Touhou's typically faster tempo, fast piano melodies, or I should say fast piano arpeggios with like a slower horn melody above it. That's kind of like the formula, more or less in my head. I just heard another Touhou song, not the Touhou video right before this one, and that was kind of a slower song too, and that was nice. So it is cool that they have a lot of variety, and you kind of have to when you make this much music. The guy, if I recall correctly, made the game. I think he did everything. I'm not 100% everything, but it's like his baby, right? So it's like, it's very interesting in that regard because the whole, everything you see and hear is his doing, is his vision. Like he probably envisioned Touhou as a kid or a teenager, and then just made it happen. And that's kind of bizarre, but really cool at the same time because I can't think of many instances of where that's the case. But of course, when you write so much music and so many things, so many melodies, you got to change it up every now and then. You gotta do something. So that already having the pitches go down gives the song its own identity. I can't confuse that with any other Touhou song I've heard. I don't think I've heard any other Touhou song that does that, and it's not even that common because, there's no rules in music, but there kind of are at the same time. It's like they're meant to be broken. It's just art. It's just like how there's no rules in art, but there's lines you can stay inside. With music, it's the same thing. You can stay in the key or you can not. As long as it sounds good. But what here it's happening, it's more of like, it seems like an artistic choice, right? To hear the note and then just drop it out of it, which all of a sudden you can hear the music theory kick into overdrive because you're like, oh, that doesn't sound good anymore. Or, well, it's not that it doesn't sound good. That's subjective, but it doesn't sound what you're used to. Things you hear normally on the radio, TV, movies, whatever. It's kind of like fine-tuned perfectly to be the best enjoyable listening experience. So it's really not common to throw the listener's ear out for the sake of the art. But it's cool, though, because it's bold. And I feel like that's what's cool about Touhou is like it kind of does its own thing and was never, as far as I know, I don't think there was ever any issues with publishing it. Like he just kind of just did it himself. That's what it seems like. Now, let me see what it says here because there's a lot. Recorded on a real SC8850. Years ago, ZenSite had a page called something where MIDI files made for the Roland SC88 Pro could be downloaded for free between 1999 and 2001. Zen posted a range of versions of many PC98 Touhou project tracks and arranged the entire Saiho Shusu Gyoku OST. What is that? He also posted the Tort Le Magic OST and 6 tracks known as Zune Strange Works. They only sound as intended on this module. The PC98 arrangements include select tracks from something. The highly responsive to prayers, Touhou 1. The story of Eastern Wonderland, Touhou 2. I think I've heard that before. Phantasmagoria? of Dim Dream, Touhou 3. Lotus Lamp Story, I think I've heard that too. Oh, they're going in order, Touhou 1, 2, 3, 4. And Mystic Square, Touhou 5. Please don't call these remixed or remastered. These words don't mean what you think they do. Oh, and there's a Zune comment at the end of it. That's another thing too that's unique about Touhou. The composer, like, I think has a comment for every song he made, or most of them. That's pretty unique. Zune's comment: thank you for downloading the song. This is Peaceful Romancer from Mystic Square. Since the song was too different, too, I was eventually. Oh, is this like translated? Okay. I'm just going to read it as is, so it might sound weird. Thank you for downloading the song. This is Peaceful Romancer from Mystic Square. Since the song was too different, I was eventually had it reworked again. At the end of the day, this song was my last in composing using FM sound. This is actually where I was going to seal my Dojin activities by the mark of this song. But no matter what I do, I could not wash my hands clean. Since it would have been the last, I was enthusiastically working myself for composing a bright and Eastern song. But the arrange ended up with a dark feeling of sadness and apathy. Song was not bright after all. Anyways, this is a finale ending song where Touhou project itself lowers its curtains and is quite emotional. Yes, it's true that this song is quite sad, that so few people will ever get to hear it since it cannot be heard unless extra stage is cleared. Well then, let us meet again in the next song, shall we? What an interesting enigma of a person. Okay, cool. I need to read more Zune comments. I keep forgetting about that because no one does that. So, what a composer though. Seriously, strange guy, but strange is cool. This is, I think, the final boss. I could be, yeah. I'll read more about this later. But this is Infinite Being, which I'm guessing is the girl in the red hair, but who knows? Same game. Touhou Kaikidan, Mystic Square. This one's pretty short. I like that bass line a lot. Released in 1998. That's what I was going to look for. Developed by Zunsoft. God, this Wikipedia is so interesting. I'm going to read some of it when I'm done. Let me know if you played this game in 1998 or within a few years of release. Because odds are, well, yeah, you're watching this video. I was going to say you're probably still a fan. This kind of stuff stays with you. Because I feel like this is a really big niche in the video game world. It's like such a huge niche, but it's a niche. Like, who had a PC 98, you know what I mean? Or maybe it was more popular than I thought, I don't know. It's almost over. You know, that was super intriguing because if that was in 98, You could tell it sounds older, but you can tell that it sounds like newer than chiptune. But it's like kind of in between. Yes, there was already CD quality at this time. The PS1 had already been out for like 5 years. 3 years? 95? That's what I meant to say. Or was it 96? I don't know, whatever. Like, for example, in 98, right? This came out in 98? Yeah, 98. In 98, I was playing Game Boy Color, which is a handheld, and didn't sound too far from this, but you can tell it was way less quality than this. I've never heard of the PC 98, but it seems to be like... well, from what I'm gathering, it was the NEC PC 9800. But PC 98 is a term used by the Western community to refer to the first 5 games of the Touhou project. PC 98 is named after the NEC PC 9801 computers on which they ran on. That's so niche. Like, I can't even begin to describe. Well, who knows, honestly, because maybe this was a bigger thing in Japan and then Touhou came over here. I don't know how long Touhou's been in the States, but for the most part, I think if you ask most video gamers in the world, they're gonna think of 98 as like the PS1. Is the Xbox out? I don't know, maybe. That kind of stuff. There was PC gaming, and there were some like big hits back then, but I don't think it was like... I'm not sure, actually. I was aware of PC stuff like Unreal Tournament and what was that one MMO? But it's nothing like today, where it's like now another viable console, quote unquote. What's the term I'm thinking of here? Anyways, you know what I mean. I feel like back then, if you played games on a computer, it's like that was already niche. That's what I'm saying, basically. So, and then a niche within a niche, which is PC 9801. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, like, Touhou seems like since inception has been just this kind of word of mouth, strange game that, and I don't mean this in a bad way. I was gonna say like somehow made it popular, but I mean that against the odds, not somehow because it's like, what the heck, it sucks. The game looks cool and it looks challenging, but I think that's why. I think the whole appeal of Touhou, from what I've seen and heard the past 3 or 4 years, is that it's this game where it challenges you. If you beat it, it's kind of like bragging rights, and it's just cool. Like, everything about it is cool. The character designs, the story of the composer / developer. Did I say the music? Yeah. And apparently its roots too. So it just seems like it's just had everything going against it and still pushed through. And even now, I would consider even now, in 2026, I think if you know about Touhou, it still feels niche. You know, I feel like here it's not, because this is a video game music channel. So I think it's like expected here, honestly. But I would say, I'm just gonna throw a number out here. I would say, let me know what you think as a Touhou fan. I would say 75% of the general population doesn't even know Touhou exists. Which, to me, sounds kind of cool. Because you got to gatekeep it harder. I'm just kidding, you don't. But I don't know. It just seems so interesting. And I wonder what made it actually stick out, besides being so unique. See, I'm asking all these questions. I'm saying all these things because of curiosity. You know, I would love to see like a history of Touhou video, but I know that is a gigantic rabbit hole that I would never get out of. So maybe there's a video out there that can explain all of Touhou in like less than an hour, and maybe I'll check it out. But I feel like it's just a never-ending thing, dude. It's huge. Anyways, so this is the last boss theme. Of course, I really put a lot. This is Zin's comment. Of course, I really put a lot of spirit into it. I was trying to make a song that had the right blend of coolness and cuteness. Yeah, the main melody is pretty easy to remember, so it had a nice feel to it. Overall, I'm pretty fond of it. You know, it's nice though. I should really give credit to that. Having a composer talk about their own music is really refreshing. I wish every artist did that. there's a time and place where you're allowed. I feel like as an artist of any kind, you're allowed to talk about your own work, and not feel like you're, you know, full of just like ego or something. Like you created that, you like that. I would love to explain all the songs that I've made and what thought was behind them. You know what I mean? I wish every artist did that. I like liner notes, right? Is that what they're called? That's really cool. And I think, like I said, he's done it for like every song he's written. I don't know about everyone, but a lot. And that's really cool. I think, as far as I know, he's the only consistent composer that has something to say about each one of his compositions, even if it's a generic thing like, I really like the song. That's cool. I'd rather see that than I had a deadline. Here's a song, you know. I don't know. It's a very interesting thing, this Touhou. But that is the debut of Touhou 5. Mystic Square. Interesting. Okay. Feel free to nerd out, Touhou fans, because I have a lot of questions this time. And you know what's crazy about that? Is I still have all these questions years later. You know, you think I would have asked everything already or said everything. A game this strange, this much of an anomaly is not... It's not so easily just picked apart. This is like a hieroglyphics of a game. All right. Thank you to the requesters. Thanks to everyone you see here. I couldn't be without them. Thanks to you for watching. My name is Jesse in the Auditorium. Take it easy.